Hi everyone, it's Miss Katie, and on today's episode, we're going to explore and experiment with watercolors. And we're also going to make our own watercolors because Miss Katie loves to make stuff. So to make our watercolors, you're going to need food coloring and water. But that's not all. See, I said we're going to experiment. So first, we're going to watercolor and make and see how the watercolors bleed and mix into each other. But my other idea is to take some liquid glue and we're going to make a design, and I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to drizzle it all over the paper, and then we're going to be patient and we're going to let that glue dry. And then after it's dried, we're going to watercolor paint where the glue has dried and see what happens. Now I've already thought of a few different things I think might happen. So you guys, think of some questions that you might have before we start this project. What do you think will happen? How will it be different when we have the glue and it's dried on our paper, the texture? What is that going to do to our watercolors? So I'm not going to tell you my ideas because I don't want to give you any ideas that aren't your own. I think actually what we're going to do is just experiment with this together. So let's get ready and get our materials all together. All right, so let's get started with our glue. So I have my glue here, and we're going to take this glue and we're going to pour it and leave an abstract design. So you see, I'm just doing a zigzag here. I think I'll even do maybe a heart. Let's see, oops. Like that, do you see my heart? Okay, and where else do I want to draw my lines? Now you see that I'm not actually touching my lines because I want to leave them so that they can dry and become barriers. Maybe I'll even make a little swirly here. See, you can really do whatever it is that you imagine. Maybe I'll do a few dots here. All right, and we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna set this aside to dry. And I would say it took me about an hour for it to dry, but don't worry. While we're letting that dry, we're gonna start it on another watercolor project. So let's get started on that one. All right, so I've got my paper ready, but I need to make my watercolors. That's where the food coloring comes in. So here I have my yellow, and we're gonna make our yellow. So let me bring that closer so you can see it in the camera. And I'm going to put about 2 or 3 drops. And the great thing about making your own watercolors is you can decide how strong or light you want the color to be by just changing it to add maybe a few more drops of color or maybe a few less. But definitely don't squeeze the whole bottle in at one time. That's going to just use up all of your color, and you're not going to have any left for another project, and it's going to make it very dark. So we're going to go ahead and let me just show you how that mixes up. Do you see that? How it's turning yellow? Wow, that's really pretty. Let's see what that looks like on our paper. Oh, that's very pretty. Can you see that? Let me move my hand. Okay, so let me put my yellow back over here. And let's see, I'm gonna wash my brush over here, and it actually turned my water yellow. Let's make our red real quick. Put a few drops. And let me bring that up here so you can see me mix it up. Now I put it in a red dish, so I matched my colors. And if you don't have colored dishes, that's okay. You don't need colored dishes, but I actually had these in my cabinet. And let's go ahead and see. Oh, look at that. It's gonna mix with the yellow. What color does yellow and red make when they mix? That's right, make orange. And watch this, we're gonna wash our brush off. It's gonna mix with the yellow, and it's gonna make a very lovely, lovely light orange. Now I've already got my blue and my green made, so I'm gonna go ahead and start adding some blue and green. As you can see, they're bleeding into each other and making even more new colors. Looks like a rainbow. And watch this, I'm gonna wash my brush. And I'm gonna pat it into the paper towel. I'll grab some of my green. Do you see how these colors all blend together to make a beautiful abstract painting? And it doesn't have to all be abstract. You can make a little design, like maybe a flower. So let's see, Miss Katie can make a watercolor flower. Put a few right here. And I'm gonna need to make a green stem. Let's make a green stem. Get some of my green. Oh, you see it blends in, and that's okay. Gonna add some green leaves on the side. I actually really enjoy this. It's pretty relaxing. I'm gonna mess up my flower and I'm gonna mix them together and make a little river of color, which is what I just did. All right, and it's up to you how you want to mix your colors or paint. Really just take this time to experiment. You can cover the whole page or you can just make a few dots. It's up to you. This is just what Miss Katie's doing. But I've seen all of your artwork before, and I know that you guys have an incredible imagination. You can probably come up with some beautiful artwork that you can share with us. So I'm gonna just paint. I might actually do a few. And maybe I can even show you what they look like when they're dry. You wanna see a few of my paintings while we wait for our glue to dry? All right, just do a few more little dabs. All right, let me show you what mine look like after they're dry. All right, so as you can see here, I've let my watercolor dry, and I actually didn't move it around when I was letting it dry. That way everything could just soak into the paper and not spill everywhere. And I don't know if you guys can see, but how the colors bled into each other to make this design. And that's part of the fun of experimenting and practicing. And I don't know if you guys can also see, I made a rose. And look what happened down here when I tried to make my leaf. The green bled into the red, making a little green river. And the reason why that happened is because I didn't actually wait for my red watercolor to dry. And I went ahead and I made my green leaf, and then the water dripped and mixed in with my red and made this little green patch right here. And that's okay, that's all part of experimenting. And that's why we're doing this project today, so that we can experiment and play around with all the different ways you can use watercolor. And you're really actually only gonna learn if you try. So don't get frustrated if you see things like this happen, because that's part of the beauty of working and experimenting on an art project. So now that we've waited for our glue design to dry, I will be honest with you, it actually took about 2 hours to dry. And you know, I left it in the sun to dry, so just be patient when you set your artwork to dry and make it for a later, maybe afternoon project that you're going to do. So let's go ahead and get started on that experiment. All right, so as you can see, my design has had a chance to dry. And what I'm going to do is take my brush, and I think I'll start with blue. Why not? Get a little bit of blue. And when we paint it, you're gonna see that where the glue is, it's gonna make these little barriers that are gonna keep the blue in the little sections. So let's see, we're gonna try painting a color next to it. Let's try some red. Actually, you just paint over. I don't know, can you guys see that? Where the glue pops up and makes a little border there. So it looks like our colors actually still can mix together, but where I put the glue is showing little white lines. very interesting. Let me try painting in one of my hearts. Actually never tried this project before, so I'm learning as I'm working on it as well. Let's see how the different colors look over top of our glue design. Can you guys see, especially as it's dry, where the glue is making these little ridges that pop up? Let's paint in this heart red. So I'm going to keep painting. You guys paint over top your glue design and let it dry, and then we can show each other our finished product. So I'm gonna finish painting. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. And we're gonna let this dry, and then I'll show you what it looks like after it's dried, and then you'll be able to see the glue design that I put down before we even started. All right, let's take a look. All right, so as you guys can see, the watercolors have started to dry, leaving these lines here from where the glue was and making a bit of a textural difference in my watercolor painting, which I think I really actually enjoy. How did yours turn out? Did it turn out the way you imagined it? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm gonna keep painting. All right, everyone, that was so much fun today, and I learned something new. See, when I first started the project, in my mind, I had thought that when the glue dried, it was gonna make these barriers and the colors wouldn't bleed into each other. But through my experimenting, I actually found out that the colors still bled into each other, but then it turned out to make this beautiful design, because when the paint dried, it left these lines and made this beautiful abstract painting that really turned out more beautiful than I thought when I first started this project, which is the fun of exploring and experimenting. See, there's no right or wrong. And so I encourage you guys to keep painting and try different things and different techniques and keep exploring, and hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.